Welcome to Shaping Healthcare, a podcast by CitiusTech. I'm your host, Laurel Rockall.
Joining us today is Manan Shah, Senior Healthcare Consultant of Customer Success at CitiusTech. With over a decade of experience at IBM and CitiusTech, his expertise spans connected devices, cybersecurity, personalized medicine, and generative AI. Today, we are excited to explore with Manan the transformative impact of emerging technologies on patient care and operational efficiency. Manan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Laurel. Good to be here.
It's great to have you on. This is a really exciting topic of medical devices. I'm really looking forward to sitting down and talking with you about. But first, I want to get to know you a little bit more and your career journey that you've had. It's certainly been a diverse one, from your early days as a system engineer at IBM to your current role here at CitiusTech. Can you share a pivotal moment or an experience in your career that significantly shaped your approach to healthcare technology and consulting?
I started off my career in IBM a while back, right? And my initial days, I was focused on helping out on the delivery side, helping out with a solution which focused on cloud migration, helping our customers across various domains move their on-premise applications to cloud, right? That is how my journey started. That is where I learned all the basics of a technology solutions, right? How to go about building innovative technology which can help transform the overall industry. While I was working at IBM, right, I got opportunities to do my MBA as well. So I did my MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Mumbai, and that is where I learned all the basics of business, which I am applying right now. Right, what I've seen is there are several applications where technology can be applied in our businesses. Right, so technology in the healthcare space can have significant impact on improving overall human life. So it was during this program at Indian Institute of Management, right, where I got hired at CitiusTech. So within CitiusTech, I got a significant exposure to the healthcare domain, and this is where I learned that whatever technology solutions we develop, right, they have significant impact on improving human life. So being able to identify, say, a high risk patient early, or able to provide personalized care to certain patients, right, it can help save a lot of lives. Now, this I would say is a pivotal movement, right? If you are able to identify such patients early, being able to provide them better care, more personalized care, it is going to have a lot of impact on human life. So knowing that whatever work you do, it impacts human life, just makes me feel proud of the work which I do.
Absolutely. Being able to have that impact on the world, I'm sure, is very exciting and feels good to be a part of. And you are certainly part of a ecosystem that is rapidly evolving. And I feel like that is quite the understatement. The medical device industry is rapidly evolving for sure. And by 2030, it's predicted to be an $800 billion industry, which is huge. It's a staggering number. And from your perspective and your experience at CitiusTech and in this field, what have been the most impactful trends that are really driving this transformation and this growth? And how are those trends shaping the future of patient care?
Yeah, so in my tenure at CitiusTech, right, what I've seen, right, is medical device industry has been undergoing a lot of changes. As you mentioned, it is going to grow to almost $800 billion in coming few years, right? So it's growing at a very fast pace. Some of the drivers or factors which is impacting this growth, I would say, is more and more demand for more personalized care, more preventive care, which is required, right? Now, if you look at healthcare few years back, it was mostly reactive in nature. If somebody had a healthcare condition, they would want to go and visit a doctor and get it treated. Now, if you look at healthcare today, right, lot more focus is on driving preventive care for patients. Okay, can you identify condition of a patient even before they get hospitalized? Okay, can you help them uh, to do early diagnosis, or can you identify patients with high risk and target those patients early? Okay, all of these things are going to drive healthcare in coming future. The other area where I see a lot of changes happening, right, is the digital technology solutions which are coming. So if you look at how technology has evolved in last few years, right, there have been so many new technologies which have come up. Okay, and healthcare is one of the domains which is kind of lagging in terms of technology adoption overall, especially on the medical devices side. Now, if you look at some of the things which are happening on the technology side, 15 years back, not many people were using mobile apps for improving their overall health. Okay, if you look at the state today, right, it is completely different. People are using mobile companion apps which connect to a Bluetooth device, like a wearable device, which can continuously monitor the patients all the time. Okay, you have clinical decision support tools which are driven by AI/ML algorithms. Now, these tools can help you to drive early diagnostics. They can help you in therapy planning and cover other areas as well. Now, these AI/ML tools can also help you to customize or personalize the dosage of medication which is given to you. Now, these are some of the things which are happening, right? Even on some of the newer technologies, for example, augmented reality or virtual reality, which is there, right? We are seeing more and more adoption coming in terms of surgery planning tools which are there, right? They are using AR, VR technology today. Gen AI is another buzzword right now, right? You can see lots of use cases where Gen AI can be applied even within the medical devices industry. And this can be used for improving your patient or provider engagement. It can be used for improving the overall documentation which is there, required for regulatory compliance within the medical device industry. It can be used for improving your sales and marketing initiatives which are going on, and many other areas, right? So these are just few areas where we are seeing lots of growth in terms of technology adoption. What we are also seeing is a lot of transition of care is happening outside of hospital settings. So, uh, overall cost of care we want to bring down, and that can only happen if your care is provided outside of hospital. Now, how do you drive that personalized care outside of hospital? You need to focus on providing wellness solutions outside of hospitals. Okay, can you ensure that you are able to treat patients even before they get hospitalized, as I mentioned earlier, right? So these are just a few of the factors which I feel are driving the adoption of newer and newer medical devices which are coming into the play. And then there are also lots of challenges which come along with all these technology adoption and other medical device solutions which are getting built today, right? And again, you can call these as challenges, you can call these as opportunities, but as you move on, right, you need to innovate and you need to adapt to stay competitive in the industry and grow in the market.
You touched on some really great points and those changes and trends that push for more proactive versus reactive, that transition to care outside of a hospital, as well as technology wise, the AI, AR, VR, like all these different changes are very exciting. You know, of course, that's pushing that growth in the field. But you also mentioned some of these challenges. So I want to dig into that a little bit, given, I guess, the complexity of all these this technology landscape. What are some of those most significant challenges that medical device manufacturers are facing, and how can they navigate those obstacles to stay competitive?
So as you mentioned, right, a lot of challenges are there. So again, on the technology adoption front itself, there are plenty of challenges. Your medical devices, which are typically there in the market, right, they remain in the market for several years. Okay, you could be having a dialysis device which is used in a hospital, or you could be having a diagnostic device which is getting used in a clinical laboratory, right? Now, all these devices could be there in the market for 15 years, 20 years, or even more, okay, before they get replaced by a newer device. Now, how do you ensure that your equipment remains relevant and competitive for such a big duration, right? Whenever you are building a new medical device, you need to ensure that you are using the latest technology and some technology which is going to remain in the market for next 15 years, next 20 years. Okay, this requires a lot of R&D spend to ensure that you are using the best solutions which are available in the market. It requires a lot of innovation to be taken up by all these medical device companies. Technology is one aspect. There are other challenges as well. So there are lots of stringent regulatory requirements which are out there in the industry, right? So if you look at the medical devices market, there are lots of guidances which come in from regulatory bodies such as FDA, or in Europe you have MDR. Now there are new guidances coming up every few days or every few weeks, right? And these medical device companies need to ensure that they are staying compliant with all these new regulations which are coming up. This will ensure not only the safety of the devices which are getting used in the industry, but it will also ensure that on an ongoing basis, right, there are no issues associated with your devices, or there is no need for recall of your devices which are out there in the market. The other big challenge which I see is on the supply chain side. In last few years, especially since COVID, right, there have been a lot of disruptions in the supply chain. Pre-COVID, the focus was more on building efficient supply chains. Now, if you look at supply chain of today, right, the focus has shifted a bit. You need to ensure that you have resilient supply chain as well as efficient supply chain. Okay, so when I say resilient, right, you need to ensure that if there's an issue in your supply chain somewhere, you are able to quickly adapt to it, quickly ensure that your supply chain does not break. You are able to switch between your suppliers or distributors which are out there in the market, and uh, quickly change your overall supply cycle. Now, this will require a lot of automation and workflows which are out there, right? Automation of realigning suppliers, realigning distributed channels which are out there. The other big area where I see a lot of challenges coming in is on the cybersecurity front. So your devices of past, right? They used to function as silos or individual medical devices which are not connected to any other system. But if you look at the medical devices which are coming in today, right, you'll see that all these devices are interconnected with other systems. It could be something like e-prescription system which is out there. It could be a electronic health record which is out there. Okay, or it could be a hospital information system which is out there. Or your devices could also be sending data to cloud to ensure that you are able to do some analytics on that data and come up with new insights. So when your devices are connected with other systems, right, you also need to ensure that your devices are safe to use. There are no cybersecurity related challenges or any cyber attacks happening on your device, right? And this can have significant impact on a human life as well. For example, say you are dealing with a pacemaker and there is some cybersecurity issue with the pacemaker. Now, this can have significant impact on the patient life itself. So there is a lot at stake, and you need to ensure that your devices are safe to use, and you are able to protect your patients from any type of cyber attacks which are happening.
Absolutely. And on that thought of cybersecurity, I want to dig into that a little bit deeper, digging a little more into why cybersecurity is important for these medical devices, and to continue on that answer with you. And how are medical device regulators addressing those cybersecurity concerns?
If you look at cybersecurity, right, the main reason it is important is it can affect the safety and effectiveness of how your devices get used. Okay, so your devices are going to handle a lot of patient related health data, and you want to ensure privacy and security of all this data. Okay, that is one aspect. So if your devices are not safe, then there could be issues related to your patient data getting leaked when it is getting transferred to some other system. Patient data getting leaked is still okay, but if there's a issue with the device itself, and if it impacts the therapy which is given to the patient, right, then it has big impact. It can lead to certain accidents. It can even lead to critical events which may happen. And you, as a medical device organization, you want to avoid all these risks. The best thing which you can do is you can build your devices and do all types of cybersecurity testing and penetration testing which is required on the devices. Ensure that your devices cannot be accessed without any proper authorization, or you should ensure that they cannot be tampered with or they do not malfunction. And the other thing which you need to ensure, right, is uh, you need to ensure your devices can get updates or upgrades every few weeks or few months, right? As new and new solutions keep on coming up, as new and new vulnerabilities get identified, right? You should be able to upgrade your devices as well. You are able to do that with your mobile phones today, but you are not able to do that with medical devices today. Now, that is something which needs to change, and the medical device organizations have to drive all of this. As a regulatory body, FDAs and MDRs of the world have been trying to address these issues. In last 1 year itself, there have been multiple guidances which have come up for pre-market as well as post-market cybersecurity management. And these guidances basically include recommendations on how to identify any such cybersecurity issues, how to mitigate any type of cybersecurity risk associated with the device lifecycle itself. So all of this will help in making your devices safer for your patients and being able to remain in the market for longer duration.
There's certainly, yes, there has to be those guardrails in place, and it sounds like there are. And yeah, as things are rapidly changing, it's always having those safeties in place. But you, especially with these connected devices and being able to have those updates. So I want to actually dig a little bit more into connected medical devices and look at how they are changing patient care. You've touched on that a few times. Can you tell us a little bit more about how those connected devices are changing patient care and maybe some examples of those innovative digital solutions?
So connected care is something which has been catching up in the industry recently, right? So if you looked at devices which were there 15 years back, as I mentioned earlier, they were operating in silos. Now, today, if you look at the devices, right, any new device which is getting built will most likely be connected to other systems which are out there. And this is happening in across different care settings, right? It is happening in hospital setting, it is happening in home setting, or if your devices are getting used in ambulatory care centers, even over there, you will see connected devices. I'll give you a few examples of how connected devices can help improve the overall care which is provided to the patients, right? Consider the case of hospital setting. Okay, you could be having multiple bedside devices which are there next to the patient. Okay, now these devices could be things like a patient monitor, it could be an infusion pump, it could be a ventilator which is used at the patient bedside. Now, all of these devices, right, can be connected to a single unified solution where you can view the complete patient 360-degree condition. Okay, so if a clinician walks in and they want to see a complete view of the patient, right? Today, what happens is they need to look at 5 different devices to figure out what is the current state of the patient. Okay, is this something which we can change? The answer is yes. Okay, can we provide a unified view for clinicians to look at? The answer is yes. Okay, now how can we enable this? The way to do this, right, is to ensure that your different devices are able to connect to a unified centralized solution where all the patient's vitals can be viewed in a single location. Okay, and you will be able to monitor these patients not only in your patient ward, or even if you are moving around in the hospital, right, you will be able to view the current state of the patient while you are on the move. You will be able to view the current state on your mobile phone as a clinician, right? And all of this is going to have significant impact in terms of the way care is provided to the patient. Now, even for devices, right? Now, based on your patient vitals, can you change the medication or the dosage which is provided to the patient? Okay, now if your monitoring device is connected to a therapy device like an infusion pump, okay, and if there is some type of intelligence behind it, right, which can calculate how much dosage should be given to the patient. If you are able to do all of this, then you are providing a better care to the patient. You are providing more personalized care to the patient. Okay, so in a way, your connected care is going to improve the care which is provided to the patient in the hospital setting. If you look at home setting, right, you want to empower your patients to manage their care at home without help of any clinicians. Now consider the case of a diabetic patient, right? Now a diabetic patient needs to ensure that they are taking their meals on time, they are taking certain calories every day, okay, they are doing the right exercises and managing their health all the time. And they also need to monitor what is their current glucose level or any other condition which they may be having, right? Now you would have seen more and more penetration of continuous glucose monitors, which are like small devices which you can use for continuous monitoring of your uh, blood glucose levels. Or there could even be wearable devices which are out there, right? Your wearable device will help you to monitor your uh, vital conditions such as heart rate or uh, pulse or oxygen levels. Okay, it will also help you to track your activity levels every day. Okay, by doing all of this, right, your patients are able to understand whether they are following the therapy which is recommended to them or not. Okay, based on all this data, your patients can also get a view of how much insulin they should take every day. Okay, for example, based on the meal which I've taken and based on the activity level which I've done in last 2 3 days, right? This is the amount of insulin which I should take. Okay. Now all of this can be enabled if you have a connected ecosystem where you are continuously monitoring the patients, as well as you are able to control the amount of medication or the insulin dosage which you are giving to the patient, right? You are able to control that. So again, in home setting, now diabetes is just one example, right? It could be any other condition. So again, in home setting, you are able to control how your patient manages the care at home, how they manage the wellness at home.
I think the word there that is so key is the connected part that you mentioned, and it's frequently keeping the physician and the patient connected together through these devices, and for practitioners being able to frequently monitor their patients and be made aware very quickly of any changes or any risks to their patient, be able to appropriately intervene. And then you said also empowering patients when they're at home and being able to feel more in charge of their care and more connected with it, and making those changes and staying on top of it themselves when they're at home. I think those are all really amazing examples and exciting prospects of where healthcare is now and then where the future is going to be. Something that you mentioned in there is personalized and personalized medicine. It's come up a couple of times as we've been talking. And how does the concept of personalized medicine influence the design and the development of these medical devices?
So I gave example of diabetes management, right? Now, in case of diabetes management, you might be able to control how much insulin the patient will be delivered based on their meal or their activity level or other things. Now, there are other ways to personalize the care as well. Think of case of a person who's going to undergo knee surgery. Okay. Now, for that particular patient, you want to ensure that you have the right knee implant available for them, or you have a person who requires prosthetic, right? They have the right set of design for the prosthetic itself. Okay. Now, all of this can be enabled if you have designed your implant or the prosthetic in the right way. Okay, so that is another way to provide a personalized solution to your patients. Infusion pump, uh, we already discussed. Insulin delivery devices is one example of it. You also need to provide personalized therapy to patients, say, who are undergoing oncology care. Okay, they may require certain radiation dosage. Okay, they may require localized therapy at a certain part of the body or a certain organ of the body, right? Now, all of this can be customized if you are able to provide them a personalized care. Now, how can you enable all of this? If you have the right set of data about the patients. Okay, in case of radiation therapy, right, you need to ensure that you have the right imaging data of the patient. You are able to identify where the tumor cells are present, and then you do a targeted therapy on those tumor cells, right? That will help you to provide personalized care. Now, in case of cardiac patient, right, you want to monitor those patients continuously. And based on their cardiac health, you may want to do some clinical interventions, maybe call them up for a clinic visit, or maybe do some changes in their lifestyle in certain way, right? Now, all of these are some of the things which can be personalized. You can also provide personalized educational content to your patients, right, based on whatever conditions they are having. How can they manage their health better? How can they improve their overall lifestyle, right? These are again some of the things where personalization can come in.
Very seldom are solutions one size fits all, yeah, especially in healthcare, I suppose. And being able to have that, those personalized numbers and that feedback there would make for better care across the board and better care for the patients. So it's really interesting. And something you mentioned earlier at the top of our chat together, we were talking about generative AI, and I feel like generative AI is certainly making its waves across all kinds of industries. And so, when it comes to healthcare, how is generative AI enhancing that care experience and also operational efficiency within the medical device sector? And how might that technology transform the industry in the very near future?
When I think of generative AI, right, everyone has Chat GPT in mind, right? Everyone thinks of how Chat GPT can improve the way in which we work. Now, in healthcare, right, generative AI has a very broad set of use cases which can be targeted. Now, in the medical devices space, if you look at, you can use generative AI in different areas. It can be used by R&D teams to make their engineering activities more productive. Okay, it can be used by quality and regulatory teams to improve their documentation. Okay, it can be used by sales and marketing team to improve their targeted outreach or personalized outreach to different stakeholders which are out there. Okay, or it can even be used for uh, personalizing engagement with patients or with clinicians which are out there. Now, all of this can be achieved if you have the right set of Gen AI based solutions. I mentioned patient engagement, provider engagement as one of the areas, right? This is one of the areas where you can have something like virtual health assistants or health coach, which can guide you based on how you are doing on a daily basis. Okay, based on the data which you feed in into your mobile app or a certain device which you are using, right? They'll be able to guide you on how you can improve your overall health. Now, there are different ways to address this. You can have a real person sitting behind and guiding you on what to do, or you might be able to use something like a virtual health assistant which has access to data from millions and millions of patients, and they are able to give you good guidance on what are some of the things which you should be doing on a daily basis. This will help you to personalize the care which you have. I mentioned about the way in which content gets generated for regulatory documentation, right? So generative AI can be used for different areas. It can be used for generating new content. It can be used for doing intelligent search on certain content which you already have and trying to answer some of the questions which you have. It can also be used for summarizing a big set of documents which are available and giving you a short summary of what it says, right? Now, when you are in the medical devices space, you have to deal with lots of different regulations or guidances which are out there. Now, medical devices organization, right? They may have to comply with several different regulations which are out there. And for this, they'll have to ensure that they understand the requirements of all these different regulations. One of the ways of doing this is, can you use generative AI to summarize some of the regulatory requirements which are out? Can you use generative AI to generate templates for regulatory documentation? Okay. Now, all of this can help you to speed up the way in which you document stuff, the way in which you are able to comply with all the new requirements which are coming. So again, right, documentation is another area where it can have a transformational impact. And there are engineering areas as well, right? So today you can see all the developers and the QAs who are actually building all these healthcare solutions, right? They are all using Copilot today or any other equivalents of it. Okay. Now, when you start using this, you will be able to improve your engineering productivity. In many cases, we have seen that your engineers are able to improve productivity by 15-20% or even more, right? They are able to build applications faster. They are able to improve the overall quality of applications which get developed, right? So again, those are some of the intangible benefits which you will see when you start using generative AI.
Transformative indeed, from the patient across the whole chain, really, from the patient and empowering the patient and allowing for better care there through documentation to better productivity for engineers. It's certainly a very exciting application of Gen AI across the board. And Manan, as we are reflecting over our conversation today, but also as we are looking ahead, really thinking about like how partnerships can be really pivotal for success in medical devices and this industry. How can companies benefit from collaborating with a specialized organization such as CitiusTech? What unique advantages does CitiusTech offer in terms of innovation and market strategy?
So we are a trusted partner for several medical device companies today. One of the things which differentiates CitiusTech, right, is we are a 100% healthcare focused company. So day in, day out, we are all working towards building new and new healthcare technology solutions which are out there. And by doing this over a period of last 19 odd years, right, we have been able to shape healthcare in certain ways, right? We are able to define what new technology solutions can come in and what type of innovation we can bring to the market, right? As an organization which is focused only on healthcare, right, we have done lots of work in different areas. So today we work with MedTech customers, we work with payer, provider, and life sciences companies as well. And by working with all of these different types of organizations, right, we are able to understand the perspective which each one of them brings in. And since we work with payers, we understand their perspective on how they are going to reimburse for some of the solutions which come in. Okay, we work with providers, so we understand the challenges which they have when they're using the devices on the clinical side. We work with the medical device companies, so we understand that uh, what are some of the challenges which they face in terms of developing new products or commercializing them. So all of this, right, by working with all these different stakeholders, it gives us a good perspective on how we can help deliver better solutions to our customers. And as far as technology areas are concerned, right, we work with all the technologies, latest and greatest technologies which are out there. Gen AI being one of them. We also do a lot of work on IoT-based solutions, helping out with cloud-based solution for our customers, helping out with mobile apps, or helping build next generation of digital health platforms which are out there. We have been working in all this space for a while, right? And by doing all of this, it helps us to provide better and better solutions to our customers.
Certainly a lot of experience and deep domain expertise for CitiusTech when it comes to healthcare. Manan, thank you so much for your time and bringing your experience and expertise to our conversation today. It's been a real pleasure talking with you today about medical devices.
Thank you for inviting me here, Laurel. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
The Shaping Healthcare podcast is brought to you by CitiusTech, a leader in healthcare consulting and IT services. To find out more about CitiusTech, visit CitiusTech.com. To listen to more interesting insights on healthcare technology and innovations, search and subscribe to the Shaping Healthcare podcast. Thank you for listening. If you want to share any feedback or would like to be featured in our podcast, do write to us at citiusvision@citiustech.com.